Can you imagine what it would be like if you couldn't read your absolute favorite story? Today, we're jumping into a beautiful story by Sudhamurti called How I Taught My Grandmother to Read. And let me tell you, this tale is about so much more than just learning the alphabet. It's a really powerful lesson in determination, love, and what it truly means to show respect. So, let's get right into it.
So, let's kick things off with a pretty big question. Why is reading and writing so important anyway? It's something a lot of us just take for granted, but for the grandmother in our story, it becomes everything. Try to keep this question in mind as we dive into her journey. All right, Section 1, A Grandmother's Favorite Story. Our story begins, like so many great ones do, with a simple, cherished routine that connects two very special people. So, we find ourselves in a small village in North Karnataka, and this is where we meet our two main characters, a 62-year-old grandmother named Krishtaka and her 12-year-old granddaughter who lovingly calls her Ava. Now, Ava is absolutely passionate about stories, especially one that she follows in her favorite weekly magazine.
And this story she's obsessed with? It's called Kashi Yatre. The main character is an old woman who dreams of going on a pilgrimage to Kashi, which is a holy city. And this really resonated with Ava, you know? She'd never been to Kashi either, so she felt this incredibly deep personal connection to this character and her journey.
But here's the catch. This is the central challenge of the story. Despite her love for this tale and her incredibly sharp mind, Avia is illiterate. She can't read. So she has to depend completely on someone else to bring the words on the page to life for her. And that someone, of course, is her granddaughter. Every single Wednesday, the young narrator would read the latest episode of Kashi Yatre out loud, and Ava would listen with what the author calls the greatest concentration. I mean, she could repeat the entire episode by heart afterwards. This was their special thing, their ritual. Section 2, A Feeling of Helplessness. But, as you might have guessed, this beautiful routine is about to be broken, and it's going to lead to a huge moment of crisis and realization for Ava. So one day, the narrator has to go to a neighboring village for a wedding. She's only gone for a week, but for her grandmother, who is just dying to know what happens next in her story, this absence creates a really unexpected and deep problem. When the narrator gets back home, she sees something that just completely shocks her. I mean, can you imagine? Her grandmother, this rock-solid, strong woman who she has never seen cry in her life, is in tears. And at first, Ava can't even get the words out to explain what's wrong. Later that night, Ava finally opens up about what hurt her so much. While her granddaughter was gone, the magazine came. She said she ran her hands over the pages, over the pictures, just desperate to know what happened next. But she couldn't read a single word. And this quote right here, this is the absolute heart of her struggle. It wasn't just about a story, it was about losing her independence. Section 3, A Determined Student's Vow. And this is where everything changes. Ava doesn't just sit in her sadness. Instead, she channels that feeling of helplessness into pure, unstoppable determination. The tears stop, and that sadness is replaced by something else entirely, just pure resolve. This isn't some fleeting wish, it's a powerful decision, a vow that is about to change her entire life. She turns to her granddaughter and sets a hard deadline. She says that by Saraswati Puja, a festival that's dedicated to the goddess of learning, she is going to learn the entire Kannada alphabet. This isn't just a goal, it's a promise she's making to herself. It's a declaration of independence. And this right here, this amazing quote from Ava, this is the core message of the entire story. If you're determined, you can overcome any obstacle. And for learning, there is no age bar. Her spirit is just incredible, isn't it? Section 4. The granddaughter becomes teacher. So, starting the very next day, their relationship completely flips. The one who is read to becomes the student. And the reader, well, she becomes the teacher. Now you gotta love this part. At first, the narrator admits that she laughed. I mean, the idea of her 62-year-old grandmother with wrinkled hands and gray hair becoming her student, it just seemed funny. But then she saw that unwavering determination in Ava's eyes and knew, oh, this is no joke. And so she agreed to be her teacher. And let me tell you, Ava turned out to be the most wonderful student you could ever imagine. She wasn't messing around. She tackled her studies with so much passion, reading, repeating, writing over and over again. The narrator was just blown away by the amount of homework she did, all driven by that one single-minded goal. Section 5, A Teacher's Ultimate Respect. And just like that, the deadline arrives. The Dasera festival is here, and it is time for Ava's final exam. This leads us to the story's powerful and incredibly moving climax.
Okay, so here's how it all goes down. The narrator brings the novel Kashi Yatre and has Ava sit down in the puja place. She hands her the book, and Ava begins to read. Effortlessly. She passed. But then she does something that completely stuns her granddaughter. She bends down and touches her feet. Now, in their culture, this is a huge sign of deep respect, usually something a younger person does for an elder. And Ava explains her actions with this incredibly profound statement. In that moment, she didn't see her granddaughter. She saw her teacher, the one who gave her the gift of knowledge, the gift of independence. So Ava's action just completely redefines what a teacher is, right? Respect isn't based on your age or your gender. It's about the profound act of sharing knowledge and opening up the world for somebody else.
And in return, the granddaughter, who now completely understands the depth of this moment, touches her grandmother's feet and gives her a gift. And it is, of course, her very own copy of the novel, Kashi Yatre. What a perfect symbol of her achievement. And with that, Krishtaka, at 62 years old, passed her exam with flying colors. She hadn't just learned how to read a book. She had reclaimed a piece of herself, that independence that she thought was lost forever.
So we end up right back where we started, with a question. Ava's story beautifully shows us that a true teacher isn't defined by age, but by the act of sharing knowledge with dedication and love. And it kind of makes you wonder, right? Who have been the unexpected teachers in our own lives? A really powerful lesson for all of us.